Hi. For today's episode, we'll discuss how to tell whether someone was raised by a narcissist. But first, in case you're unfamiliar with the phrase, let's define narcissism. Understanding this can give you a better understanding of how it might influence a person's upbringing and conduct. By the way, I wanted to let you know that towards the end of this video, I'll be dishing out some tips for those who may be struggling with narcissism and could use some help building better relationships. So stay tuned as we look at the top 10 characteristics of those who grew up with a narcissistic parent. Do you suspect that you were raised by a narcissistic parent? Studies show that one's environment plays a significant role in the development of narcissistic traits, along with genetics and neurobiology. As a child, your parents heavily influenced your environment, and their behavior towards you could have had long-lasting effects. Narcissistic parents tend to either shower their children with praise or criticism, which can impact their child's psyche. So let's take a look at the top 10 behavior patterns that may have been instilled in you by a parent who struggled with narcissism. Number 1, you exhibit narcissistic characteristics. You might have some traits of narcissism in you, as it's not uncommon for children of narcissistic parents to adopt similar characteristics. Since the relationship with your parents is the most intimate, it's natural to take their behavior as normal. But if you were raised by a parent who wasn't loving or nurturing, you might unknowingly exhibit similar actions. To break free from the cycle, try to reflect on any narcissistic patterns you might have. Number 2, you lack a true sense of self. Narcissistic people tend to have an inflated sense of self-importance, and this can cause them to prioritize their own emotions above anyone else's. Unfortunately, this can manifest in parents who place unrealistic expectations on their children. In turn, these children might feel the need to live up to their parents' expectations rather than being true to themselves. Essentially, this can cause a lack of individuality and lead to difficulties later in life. Number 3, you have difficulty setting boundaries. Growing up with a self-absorbed parent likely involved always trying to please them and meeting their outrageous expectations. Consequently, you may find it hard to establish boundaries in your adult relationships with partners, friends, colleagues, or even your relatives. You may have suppressed your feelings to support others instead. According to research studies, communicating honestly and setting limits with people could be very challenging for you. Number 4, you're obsessed with perfection. It's common for narcissistic individuals to yearn for attention and to view themselves as superior to others. They tend to expect excellence from everyone, even their kids. When you grow up under these circumstances, you might carry that same excessive and often unattainable expectation into adulthood. You might even become preoccupied with others and your appearance and want to project a specific image. This could manifest as a desire to own the nicest car or to have a flawless existence overall. Number 5, you tie your self-worth to your achievements. You may have learned to bottle up your emotions as a way of coping, which can make it challenging to handle your feelings. It's not uncommon to struggle with anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. According to a research study, it says that addiction is another common issue with people that are in this situation. When you're dealing with intense emotional pain that's out of your control, it's easy to turn to harmful behaviors. Number 6, you have relationship problems. According to research, having narcissistic parents can make relationships a bit bumpy. You may end up with a partner who is narcissistic or find yourself repeating the same relationship patterns you had with your parents. Where do I end and where does my partner begin? Can be a tough question to answer, especially when it comes to boundaries. On the flip side, if you display traits of a narcissist like your parents, you might seek out partners who are more submissive and end up controlling them. Number 7, you are battling your feelings. Growing up with a narcissistic parent can be a tough experience. You may have learned to suppress your emotions, which makes it hard to process your feelings. Sadly, this can lead to anxiety, depression, and low self-worth. According to experts who note that addiction is also a common outcome, everyone believes that emotional pain can drive people to addiction as a way to cope with something that feels out of their control. Number 8, you might self-sabotage. Your narcissistic parent may have always pushed you to accomplish your best potential and have lofty goals. This drive may have inspired you to pursue a successful and wealthy career. Those reared by narcissistic people, on the other hand, frequently struggle with poor self-esteem and indulge in self-destructive behavior. Even if they have accomplished great things, they tend to wreck everything. They may struggle to set boundaries, lash out at others, harm important relationships, or even make very poor decisions. Number 9, you feel like you're never good enough. Many individuals who are raised by narcissistic parents often don't receive unconditional love, leading to self-doubt and questioning their worth. According to research, this can result in feeling trapped in their childhood role and struggling to meet expectations. Since questioning a narcissistic parent isn't common, expressing their own opinions may feel very uncomfortable. Number 10, envy and jealousy. Sometimes it can be tough to recognize your own emotions, especially if you've grown up with a narcissistic parent. According to research studies, disassociating can become a habit as a way of protecting yourself. However, this habit can make it harder to understand your feelings and connect with them. Experts in psychology explain how having narcissistic parents can impact your adult life. What if, let's say, your parents are narcissistic, and that's how you grew up? To take care of yourself when dealing with narcissism, it's important to educate yourself and seek professional help if necessary, especially if it's starting to affect your daily life and relationships. However, it's not about placing blame on your parents. It's also about work on forgiving them and improving your relationship with them. It's essential to avoid replicating their behavior in your current relationships. While talking to a narcissistic parent may not yield results, therapy can offer very valuable tools for self-improvement and setting boundaries. Remember, improving oneself requires effort and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, but the rewards can be absolutely life-changing. If you found this video valuable, don't hesitate to subscribe to the Human Mind Project and receive more inspiring content like this. Until next time, take care.